Hello. It's been a bit of a while, but I'm here for a catch up and I've got lots of things to talk about because I realise that a lot of things that are really quite a big thing in my life I don't actually really talk much about, and this channel originally started as like a way of talking and catching up with online friends about all kinds of different things. So I want to kind of get back to that a bit. A lot of my original videos, the more chatty ones, have gone now because I went off social media for about 4 years and deleted all my subscriptions and stuff, and I accidentally deleted a whole load of videos which weren't backed up. But anyway, that was then, this is now. So this is Bobby, the channel is Ragged Poet, and I talk about all kinds of everything. I don't know where to start. Whoa, I've had a really bad lurgy flu kind of thing, and I've realised that I'm actually going through a kind of burnout again. It's a thing, and I've started another channel. I think I mentioned that in my last video. It's obviously very slow because it's brand new, but I'm trying to be consistent. But right after I started the channel and I had to kind of, you want to be consistent kind of thing, I got this lurgy, which was like, with burnout as well, like zero energy and just horrible. It went on for like nearly 3 weeks and I'm still kind of recovering from that. But I wanna have fun. Girls just wanna have fun. Journals. Going to start off talking about journals because I realised there's something I do quite a lot, which is go back to old journals, because some people get rid of their old journals and they like burn them or stuff. They think it's kind of therapeutic or whatever. And while I can kind of understand that, it's not something I do because I like to keep my journals. They're actually a record of my journey through life, and there's a lot of things I learn that are in there, and all kinds of random stuff and recipes and all sorts. And I've tried over the years to be consistent and have different methods of doing things, and nothing's really completely stuck with me apart from my own random way of doing it. But I do pick up bits and pieces. I mean, I really like this traveller's notebook system, which I used for years, and I was moving around the planet a lot of the time. But these are vegan Fodori covers, and I got them from an Etsy shop, I think called Cadenita. I'll link it below, and I love them. I've been using these for like well over 10 years now. They make inserts as well, but I tend to make my own inserts using like fountain pen friendly paper. I used to buy packs of Tomoe River and stuff. And these are older ones because, I mean, I like them because you can just take if you're traveling, you can just take a couple of inserts. You don't have to take the whole great kit and caboodle. But these I've got these out because I was just going to show, they do different colours of these covers, but I love them. I just really do like them a lot. And I've got tons of these, tons and tons of these with the homemade inserts in. And sometimes my journaling can be quite like collagey and have all kinds of bits of different like stuff in it, but I've also got reminders, like something I was doing there. I actually typed it and stuck it in, but it's actually a journal entry. And I'll look back for dates. I put astrology in them and stuff, and I'm always looking back for things like recipes and a funeral. A bit cheerful, but Colin was a lovely guy. I tell the jokes around here from the Book of Colin. Gone too soon, that's absolutely true. Now, this is going back a few years, but I used to put moon calendars in and photos and just entered whatever, you know, postcards people sent me. As I said, recipes and things like my favourite peanut butter, labels. I put everything and anything in journals. When I was doing playing card readings a lot, and just all sorts of stuff. So that's these. And things like, if I want to remember, like there's a word here, Yugen. A profound awareness of the universe that triggers feelings too deep and mysterious for words. Things like that if I want to remember. So when I get things like that, I've started to use these tabs to mark them. And when I go back through journals, I will get some of these tabs. In fact, I'm going to see if I've got any in here. because I want to mark that page, and these are good because they're on a little clip that you can put on those back pockets or just on the cover. So I'm just going to mark that page so that I know there's something there that I'm going to want to refer back to. The other way I check, so that's one thing I do when I go back to journals, and I try, but it doesn't always work. I try and, like, if it's a recipe, I'll have one colour as I go through them, but that kind of methodology doesn't always stay for very long with me. But the other method I picked up came from bullet journaling, and that is this carry forward thing. So when you get to the end of a journal, which in the traveller's notebooks you don't really, but you get to the end of an insert, anything that you want to carry forward, you copy it into the front of the next journal. And I've done that in some of my, what I call catch-alls. This is a catch-all journal. They don't make these anymore, but I love this. I love the paper. I always have to have fountain pen paper. But basically, all you do is you just take down things that you want to carry forward from that journal and put them in the beginning of the next journal in a little bullet form. And the other thing I stole from bullet journaling, their indexing method. So this way, you do need to either number your own journals or get numbered ones. Anything that you want to index and refer back to, you just write the page number. It doesn't matter what order it's in, and then at the front of the book you can put page whatever and write what it is. You can choose different ways of doing it, like if you're planning a video and it's on like random different pages, it doesn't matter, you just write them all down. You don't have to do it in order. It doesn't matter if one day you're writing a recipe, then halfway through you put some ideas for a novel you're writing or a poem or something, because you can index it randomly. So I always leave a few pages blank at the front. Yeah, these are brilliant. On my catch-all journal, I could not live without it. I do like brainstorming, I do doodling, I'm an obsessive doodler, colour-y person, and said I love fountain pens, and I've got, actually this is, I just filled up some new pens. Oh look, my nails match I hardly ever paint my nails, but it's kind of fun sometimes. My daughter got these nail varnishes inspired by the movie Wicked, and I just love the colours. Right, so this is I just filled this pen up. This is a London Pen Company pen, and I think it's called Arctic Storm. No, it's got a beautiful nib, but this ink is one of my favourite inks, and it's Papier Plume Bio Nightfall. I really like that ink. I like their packaging too. They have like the old wax like ink bottles, but it's kind of just gorgeous blue grey colour. Because I've been doing so much in like life, I haven't actually been really thinking a lot about my pens and what I'm using lately. Just grabbing some and filling them up. You see the sheen on this? It's just so gorgeous. Trying to get it in light. Oh, it's just beautiful. And then I've got another one that I'm using, which is, I call this my toaster marmalade pen. Now, this is a Franklin Christoph, and it was a special edition that they did for Jet Pens. It's actually got the Jet Pens logo and the Franklin Christoph logo on it, but I don't know if you'll be able to see those. They're on the cap. But look how it shines like chunks of marmalade. I think it's actually called, I think they call it something like Orange Crush, but I call it the toaster marmalade pen, or Seville Orange Marmalade. Oh, look at that shading. So that was a limited edition, and I think this is a model 45, which was my favourite model of theirs, and then they discontinued it, and I think they were going to make a new one. And the ink is Dominant Industry Earl Grey Tea. I love it. This is called a pocket pen. It fits, yeah, it's designed to be an eyedropper, so basically you can actually just unscrew the barrel, put a bit of silicone grease around it, and then fill the barrel with ink. Put that in upside down like that, and this will be silicone greased around there, so there's no leakage. This is the only converter that fits, is a little mini Kaweco one that you use in the Kaweco Sports. So that's another pen I'm using at the moment. And I do tend to write the pens I'm using in my journals when I remember. What else have I got here? Oh, this is a Kaweco Sport one. That was a special gold spot pens years ago. It's kind of a transparent blue. I don't know what the name of the colour is. I can't remember. It's kind of like a transparent deep teal kind of colour. But the ink is Kaweco Midnight Blue, and I love it. See, I can't stop doodling. I doodle so much. It's like a kind of form of stimming for me. I do it on my iPad. I do it all the time. But it's fun. So that's my current catch-all journal. I have one of these on the go all the time. I've got loads. I go through probably 5 or 6 of these in a year, depending on how big they are. I like using the plain Hobonichi notebooks, the A5 ones. They're really good for catch-all journals. This is a Hobonichi A6 Avec. And in this one, because it was a spare one I got, I can't remember why I ended up with a spare one. And the Avec is they do like 2 6-month ones. Instead of having one big fat one like this one, that's the Checo version, but so that's a whole year size, and this is like a 6-month size. They're pretty much the same. They just differ very slightly with the size, I think, of stuff. And I think this one's got more at the beginning. But what I did with this one, because it was a spare one, my life goal is to become the local legend of the weird witch lady that lives in a creepy old house. Yeah. A book, everyday enchantments. So that was something I carried over from an old book. The current cost of mailing stuff. I do quite a lot of mail. I still do mail art, even though it's more expensive. But what I did with this one, I used the front section, when you get these monthly things, as an index for various different things. So this became kind of a little bit of a catch-all, but a bit more organised. So the first entry, so that was a salad that someone made me. I used to work with Bruce salad, and I've written ingredients down there, and it's referenced on the day. So that's a good thing. If you don't have a numbered journal, you've got dates. And then I've got a collection of songs to dance to when I need cheering up. Dancing to these songs always, you know, helps me to shift energy and stuff like that. Or if I'm feeling a bit jittery and I need to, you know. So that, and then I've got page 4, one of my favourite words, misthicle, some Middle English word. And another recipe, I've got best ever apple muffins, and the recipe's there. If it takes more than one day, I just spread it right over. And so it goes on, like recipes, and then I've got ink releases, like one of the ink vent calendars I did, everything. Things I look up, things I learn, all kinds of stuff. I have, some of these inks glow beautifully. Love them. All of that sort of stuff I have in there. So if you've got any old Hobonichis that you haven't filled up, and it doesn't matter if they've got stuff in them already, you can still use them because the index works. It doesn't matter if they've already got stuff in. Now, I skipped ahead there to June, and I've got like Virginia Woolf quote from To the Lighthouse. So if we go to the end of the book, because June's at the end. So the quote, what is the meaning of life? That was all. A simple question, one that tended to close in on one with the years. The great revelation perhaps never did come. Instead, there were little daily miracles, illuminations, matches struck unexpectedly in the dark. Here was one, Virginia Woolf To the Lighthouse. That is, I love that. So quotes, these are great. So if you do have any old diary, it doesn't matter, that's got a front section like this that you could use as an index, you can use it, you know. Tear out the pages you don't want to use, collage over them if they've got stuff in you don't want anymore. But rather than chuck them, just use them because they're cool, you know. It doesn't matter that it didn't happen exactly on that day. It's just an index. That's another thing I love. I love doing that with those little journals. These are my current. This is my mental health journal, which quite often, as I said before, as a lifesaver. That's just an Hobonichi A6 journal. You're only given a small spark of madness. You mustn't lose it. You mustn't lose it. True. And then you can put different. I like the different. I like these. I've got a collection of covers. I don't get them every year, but I've got the ones I like, and some I've had lots of years, and you can just use the ones you like. You know. I always have a bit of blotting paper because I use fountain pens all the time, as I said. And you've got the pencil board. But that's, yeah, so that's my mental health one. Then this is my just current everyday, and that's got another fountain pen in it. So that one you've seen before, and that's the little cat pictures. So now, we'll move these out of the way, I think. Yep, that can go. I want to talk about what I'm currently reading. I read a lot. I actually adore and love books. I used to make books. I actually love the form of the book, the whole concept of this whole world in between two covers, and there's just so many things that it makes me think about. Like, you know, the book ends, it's like you've got a shelf, but each book is like a bookshelf in itself with all its chapters and everything contained inside it, and it's almost kind of like a house. And I don't know everything, but these are the books I'm reading at the moment. Jilly Cooper, The Common Years. This is a huge bit of nostalgia. I was quite young when I first read this. I actually think it may have been my mum's copy. Oh no, it probably was mine, 1984. But my mum used to read Jilly Cooper. She used to write all those books with like the women's names, you know, like Bella and stuff like that. I absolutely loved her writing. I didn't really like the riders and that too much when they got those big epic ones. They were a bit too much. But I like the younger style ones. My mum also used to read. She used to read Jilly Cooper, and who was the other person who wrote The Lives and Loves of a She-Devil? Oh. She was very, very cynical writer. Brilliant, brilliant writer. Faye Weldon. Oh, Faye Weldon. Mum read a lot of hers, and I read a lot of Mum's Faye Weldon books. They always had a twist in the tale. They were really good. And I think okay, there's a bit of datedness in them, but for me, this book is like going back to my childhood, to England. And she talks about living on the edge of Putney Common in London, and I didn't live that far from there. And it's written in like a diary form that goes through the year, and I just love it. It just makes me feel cozy and warm. It reminds me of childhood and reading The Secret Diary of Adrian Mole. I was an adult, I think, when that came out. You know, I loved those books. I loved Diary of a Nobody. Again, it was brilliant. I love those books. But The Diary of a Nobody, The Common Years, and even Adrian Mole, I sometimes do read that again. I think I've still got my original copy, I'm not sure. So that's one I'm reading at the moment. And then I've got Patti Smith, is another favourite all-round human being. Photographer, singer, poet, philanthropist, author. She writes like a dream. If you haven't read Just Kids, wow. That is like just the history of rock and roll. It's just being at that era and imagining how anyone could just like bump it into people like, you know, Bob Dylan and William Burroughs. And I mean, that could happen back then in Greenwich Village. Like, Patti Smith is amazing. I think she's 80 this year. The Year of the Monkey she's just come out with another new book, but this one came out 2 or 3 years ago, 2019. It's kind of a cross between reality and like a dreamscape. It's just really lovely. And I started reading it again because I love magical realism, and this has a kind of air of magical realism about it too. There were bells tolling and reeds tossed and women turning in circles, and there were bees performing their life cycle dance, and there were great winds and swollen moons and pyramids crumbling and coyotes crying and the waves mounting, and it all smelled like the end and the beginning of freedom. Beautiful. But no, I love Patti Smith, and has some of her photographs in it. She takes these amazing photographs with this old Polaroid camera. And she collects birthdays and like artifacts and Patti Smith. I've always got one of her books on the go. She's got one called A Book of Days. It's got an entry for every day of the year, but Just Kids, all the books, brilliant. And then an old favourite. I've still got my original version of one of these. But we were in Rochdale or somewhere in England. They had a little motel and it had a little charity bookshelf. You made a donation, and I had some coins in my pocket, so this was on the shelf and I couldn't resist it, even though I had to bring it in my luggage back home. I just hadn't seen this double edition before, so I got it, and it's amazing. Again, it's one of those books I've read and read over and over. An old card my daughter made me. To the beloved mummy. It's so beautiful. I love you like a cherry and the blue sky, and you are the nicest mummy in the world. I keep that from when she's in a bad mood with me now. She's 25 now, and I think I read that card. I keep it through my books because I need reminding sometimes that I'm the nicest mummy in the world. And it's got a blue heart, and my oldest grandson's called Blue. He was not even thought of then. This, if you haven't read this, it's absolutely brilliant. As you can see, it's got lots of markers in, like my old one will have, of just amazing life lessons. Like, A well frog cannot imagine the ocean, nor can a summer insect conceive of ice. How then can a scholar understand the Tao? He's restricted by his own learning. What have we got here? So it has quotes from the Winnie the Pooh stories, obviously with permission. It also has his own version of Taoism that he's translated. And there's just amazing stuff in it. It makes you feel good. Like in the story of the ugly duckling. When did the ugly duckling stop feeling ugly? When he realised that he was a swan. Each of us has something special. A swan of some sort hidden inside somewhere. But until we recognise that it's there, what can we do but splash around treading water? The wise are who they are. They work with what they've got and they do what they can do. And it goes on. It's just got so much wisdom in it. It's just so amazing. And I love how he translates it into, like, the words of Pooh and Piglet. Oh, I can't say enough. And then the last book I'm reading at the moment, I would say last, is... Oh, it's on my Kindle. Now, this is the first read for me. I haven't read this one before. So this is Bitter Greens by Kate Forsyth, and it's based on... It's got different ideas behind the story of Rapunzel, because I love fairy tales and I read a lot of them, and one of my favourites is Rapunzel, and also I love Red Riding Hood, but I've always been obsessed with those two stories, like Red Riding Hood and Rapunzel. So that's the other one I'm reading. That's my kind of... Well, this is the only one that's actually a novel that I'm reading at the moment, but I've read a lot of detective stuff lately. Ellie Griffiths. I really love Ellie Griffiths. I love her Ruth Galloway stories. I've got all of those, and probably on my third rereading now. She just started a new series about time travel. I think I talked briefly about the frozen people in an old video. She just brought a new one out. I think it's called The Killing Time or Killing Time, and I haven't read that one yet, but I do have it. It is on here. I'm also reading a book of Ellie Griffith's short stories at the moment, so I've got quite a few on the go, but they're all getting read. And I record them all. I started recording all my reading the last couple of years in an app called Storygraph, which I really like. I don't like Goodreads particularly, but I do like Storygraph. So, and it's kind of not connected to everything else, which I kind of like. I'll get back to the page I'm on, and that's just, and they're quite very short stories, and they're pretty cool, you know. They kind of almost feel like ideas for books that could go further, and they, you know, they do feel a bit... I think it's very difficult. Short stories are really hard. They're very, very difficult to write, especially if you're a long-form writer. One of the people who really had the art of the short story off pat, I believe, was Hilary Mantel, and her short story writing was just absolutely brilliant. But a couple of the early ones I'm really liking. Some feel a bit too, you know, like not enough to, but they're fun. They're just short and they're light relief and they're fun. And I think it's good for people to do stuff like that, to wake up their writing. So She Who Doesn't Know Very Much at All. I've got autumn things from the garden here. I've got like my Japanese maple leaves, which are soon going to be really red. Bits of old daisy, some hebe that was left, cypress, just bits and pieces in my old... I used to collect Torquay, I think it's from. The blue and white spotty stuff. And I've got quite a few things. This was a mug with its handle broken. I've got quite a lot of bits with various injuries that I use for plants that I can't bear to throw away. I got rosemary in there, thing that I always forget the name of, that looks like tumbleweed. What do you call that? Oh, I always forget the name of it. The big wiry thing. It's not matagori, but it's something that sounds like that. My flowers. I'll clean my desk, and I've got my tea light here. I've got a candle here. I haven't lit this one yet. This is autumn. Oh, they do an odd candle. It's usually cheaper than the others, and oh, they just smell so amazing. But yeah, I haven't lit that one yet. There we go. I hope that was fun. I don't know what else I was going to say. I just wanted to ramble. I just wanted to talk about books and journals and stuff like that. I want to talk more about books because I love them, and maybe show some more of my books. I did an installation, a whole installation of book art. I made artist books and things. I just love it. I just love the whole form of the book. I'm very thirsty now. I will talk to you again soon, and I hope you enjoyed. If you're here, thank you. And if you're interested in being late diagnosed autistic and ADHD, then You could check out my other channel, which is called Broccoli and Toast. And I tell my story. I'm telling my story on there. I'm talking about burnout at the moment, which is kind of quite on topic with my current life setup. I've got loads of family staying and it's all a bit chaotic here. Okay, ramble, ramble, ramble. Oh, my Hobonichi robot. I just love him. You love you. Could not be more perfect for me this year. And this was the Hobonichi free gift this year. Such a cool little thing. Okie dokie. From the robot and from me and from Patti Smith and the Piglet and Pooh and Jilly Cooper. We'll wish you a wonderful, wonderful time. And we did lose the planet. We lost Jilly Cooper recently, which was pretty sad. Okay, I'm really going now. Bye.